As we all know, last year Subaru killed the WRX STI, and a lot of people like me were pretty upset and pretty sad, but we still have the WRX. Well, this year Subaru's kind of trying to make us a little happier by bringing out the WRX TR, or the RS in Canada, which basically takes some bits and pieces from the STI and puts them on the WRX. Now, not having a new STI to compare it to, we don't really know how close it got. So
we brought the next best thing. When Mike did the hot hatch comparison last year with the GR Corolla, he basically called it a modern day STI, and I personally am a huge believer in just that. So we're going to take both of these around for some nice drives and see just how they really compare in terms of being a rally car for the road.
Yeah, and we know that this is the more expensive car and it's going to be the better performer, but the point of this comparison is to see how close the WRX is. Is it worth its money, or maybe even more? Or is it just a slightly better WRX? There's only one way to find out. Let's hit the road. I'll get you back to this week's review in a second, but first let's talk about suspensions. Whether it be an upgrade or replacing worn out parts, fixing a vehicle's suspension can be quite costly. Thankfully, this week's sponsor, Strut Masters, is here to help. Founded in 1999, Strut Masters offers affordable total solutions to fix costly complex air, magnetic, electronic, and hydraulic suspension systems. Whether you're an at-home mechanic or a professional repair shop, Strut Masters aims to exceed your expectations with a massive inventory of suspension pieces for different cars, trucks, and SUVs. Heck, Strut Masters even makes components for motorcycles. Strut Masters products are made of high-quality steel, many of which are manufactured in the US. They also offer a free shipping option within the continental United States. So if you need anything for your vehicle suspension, follow the link in the description below and visit Strut Masters today. The WRX still remains a really fun car to drive within legal limits. What makes the TR-RS different? Well, for starters, and the most obvious, it's the brakes. Brembos all around. Up front, they are 6 pistons squeezing down on cross-drilled rotors. There's also special 19-inch lightweight wheels with some grippy tires. The steering's been recalibrated, and it has a RS-tuned suspension. Now, saying all that, it's not an STI. It doesn't have the programmable center differential, and although there is a 6-speed manual, it's not the one that was in the STI. The steering, although better, isn't the hydraulic system from the STI. The suspension is maybe STI stiff, but it's not the same, so it's not an STI. It is a better WRX. The upgrades do make a difference. WRXs notoriously have had bad brakes, and these brakes feel so firm and stop so quickly. The 6-speed has a nice old school feel to it, and it's still a 50-50 split power front to rear, which is a lot of fun on loose surfaces. Back to the suspension, it does ride noticeably stiffer. I don't think it's too bad, but some passengers have commented on how much the car kind of bounces and jiggles on unsmooth pavement. The trade-off is it does handle quite well. Even if the Corolla is the more rambunctious car, the quicker to respond, the WRX is still a ton of fun. It is so forgiving. You just grab a gear, hammer the throttle, and just whip it into corners, and it just responds. You can just manhandle it or finesse it, and it doesn't care.
How the Corolla rides is also a very interesting contrast to the Subaru. So since it's running on smaller wheels with more sidewall, I think it actually rides slightly better. That being said, the suspension tuning is pretty firm, and it's noisier. You hear bumps more than you do in the Subaru. Again, not something I ever thought I would say, but the Subaru WRX has the more refined ride.
Well, the WRX is still a lot of fun to just get in and rip. It loves to be driven hard. It's one of the few cars where almost anyone can get in and drive it as hard as they want, and it's willing to play. It's so forgiving. There's no sort of scary limit edge where it's gonna snap oversteer or just slide off the road. I mean, if you overdrive any car, that's gonna happen. But there is the actual size of the vehicle. This is much larger than the GR Corolla, partially because of that trunk, but it does also have a larger wheelbase, and that's felt on the road. It's not like this feels like a overbearing floaty boat. It's just the GR Corolla feels like it's ready to change directions quicker, where the WRX needs a little more encouragement. This car just likes to be ham-fist driven. It's something that's always been a big draw to fans of the vehicle. And the increased steering makes it a lot more responsive. You can just toss it into a corner and it turns almost immediately. Again, maybe not as immediate as a GR Corolla, but still better than most vehicles on the road.
There's actual feedback and resistance in the Corolla's steering. Now, both of them are pretty light. It's just there's a little bit more in the Corolla, and that means that it's sharper. You just feel a little bit more in touch with what the front wheels are doing. Of course, you also have more customization in the Corolla as well. I can adjust my center diff. So, do I want 30% of the power to the front? Do I want 60% of the power? Do I want 50-50, which is just pressing a button for track mode? You have options.
So when the WRX was restyled a couple years ago now, a lot of people, me included, didn't really like the exterior styling, and I'm still not sold on it. The best part of the new vehicle, besides the stiffer chassis and better responses, is easily under the hood. The 2.4-liter Turbo 4 fixed the biggest weakness of the old WRX, and that was low-end torque. It used to be an engine that anything below 3,000 RPM didn't feel much better than an Impreza till the boost really built. Now you notice the difference right off the line. It really helped make the vehicle more of an all-around performer, and not one that had to be sort of wrung out to its very limits to get the most fun out of it. A lot of people complained about the small increase in power and how it was like nothing, but honestly, that's just part of the story. It's the feeling behind the wheel, and this feels 20, 30 horsepower more powerful until you get to the high end than the old WRX, and these were never really top-heavy power monsters anyway. It doesn't feel like an STI, and it doesn't feel like the GR Corolla, but it does feel more than the old WRX. An advantage we do have here is the engine on the low end. With an extra cylinder and nearly a liter more displacement, there's just so much more usable low-end torque. It's so much easier to get going around the city and keep in a higher gear and accelerate. The GR Corolla is faster when you really rev it up, and it's a lot of fun to rev up, but this is fun to rev up too, and when you want to drive more sedately, it's easier to do. The sound's a little different in here. The turbo almost makes more of a supercharger kind of scroll and whine, whereas the Toyota has that fun little blow-off noise. But the noise out of the exhaust, even though this doesn't have the unequal length headers anymore, I still like that boxer sound. It still just feels purposeful.
Let me tell you why I am Team GR Corolla. For starters, no one has partied this hard since Andrew WK. Throttle response is also sharper than the WRX's, although since the Corolla is working with almost a complete liter less displacement, it doesn't have a whole lot going on until you give it some revs. But when it does, oh boy. So, 3,000 RPM, it wakes up. 4,000 RPM, chugs a Red Bull. When you get into that, that is when the Corolla is at its most fun. You get those silly turbo blow-off valve noises that you just do not get in the Subaru. That you just get, oh, that's not as fun. And then of course, you can shift, and when you do that, it's better than the WRX. There's definition here. I know which gate I'm going to. It's not just a big rubbery mess like the WRX's shifter. You also have built-in rev matching if you don't feel like heel and towing. It does it pretty well. The clutch is long travel, but there is a pretty defined bite point. It's a very friendly, easy to learn manual transmission.
Now, here's something I thought I would never say. The WRX might have the better interior. At worst, it's as good as the GR Corollas, but some aspects I like better. I mean, it's really user's taste. It's not like this is a great interior, but they have soft touch materials where needed. I prefer the large infotainment system. I know Kyle prefers the one in the Toyota, but that has to do with how we use it. I like to listen to channels on satellite radio or FM radio, and this is much easier to change, whereas he finds the Toyota is better for streaming off of your device.
The Corolla is so unrefined and buzzy when you're really going for it that the rearview mirror vibrates so much I can't even tell what car is behind me at night. It's part of the charm, but if you're looking for a smooth everyday ride to put people in on a regular basis, they're gonna judge you. If there's one thing I'm going to ding the Corolla for, though, it's just that the interior is lacking in specialness. So the regular Corolla interior is already one of the more basic ones out there. It gets the job done, don't get me wrong, but it definitely is a level below the best in the class, like the Mazda 3 or the Honda Civic. I never thought I'd live in a world where a WRX was the better interior, but that's kind of the case here. I will admit the Corolla's interior quality is pretty much level with the Subarus. It's just that this doesn't feel particularly special. If I'm looking dead ahead, there's nothing that tells me I'm not in a regular Corolla outside of this digital instrument cluster and the GR start-stop button that I see just poking out from behind the wheel. That's it. Yes, there's a shifter because this is now the only manual transmission Corolla left. But honestly, and I'm sorry Toyota for saying this, but the forged carbon fiber topper on the shifter looks a little cheap because at first glance it just looks like peely plastic.
One thing we both agree on is the seats in here are better. I mean, they're Recaros. They're pretty good at making seats. They have quite a history of it. And they're very supportive, equal to Toyota there, but they're more comfortable overall. And when you're really flinging it around, there does feel to be just that little more grip. Maybe it's the ultra suede, fake Alcantara, whatever you want to call it, insert that's in the seat. But I can drive this a long time and I don't feel stiff. Yet when I want to really drive hard, it's good. And I wouldn't be doing my job properly if being in a Subaru. I didn't mention how good it is to see out of. Sightlines are great, large greenhouse, square shape. It's just a Subaru trait that everything minus the BRZ shares.
Another thing I don't necessarily love about the Corolla are these seats. I'm a little jealous of Mike and his wonderful Recaro buckets. Now these are good, they're fairly well bolstered, I don't get sore after longer drives. I just miss that extra little support right around my shoulders.
In the back seat, the advantage continues. I think there is a slight comfort advantage back there, but the big difference is space. If you have to regularly take average-sized humans places like teenagers or other adults, you'll want this car. There is so little space in the GR Corolla, and although this isn't the most accommodating, you can fit full-size adults back there for decent periods of time without them complaining.
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure which one is more practical from a cargo carrying perspective. Yes, I get a hatchback, but the Corolla's is one of the smallest in the class. The WRX has a pretty big trunk. So maybe taller items? Yay, benefit for the Corolla. Everything else? The Subaru might actually be the better choice.
We've all heard the comments and jokes about how the WRX is now more legacy in size and feel than WRX, and it has matured, and that's true to a point. But if this is a modern interpretation of the legacy Spec B, and when you look at the upgrades in performance, it's not far off. I'm all for it. I am here for that. All right, we just finished today driving these two cars. I mean, it's pretty rough. Manual transmissions, a lot of fun, all-wheel drive, but someone's got to do it. But anyway, it really is true that the GR Corolla is to the WRX what the STI was. It is easily the more fun car to drive. The steering feels tighter, the smaller chassis and suspension settings just feels more lively. The engine's rambunctious and makes a bunch of noises, but it's not very sophisticated inside.
No, it's not. It's one of life's cruel ironies that Subaru spent the last decade slowly maturing and evolving the WRX, only for Toyota to come, go the complete opposite direction, and get a bunch of acclaim and credit for it. If you are looking for the more mature, more comfortable everyday car, it's the Subaru. But if you are looking for the most fun, price no object, it's probably worth spending the extra for the GR Corolla.
Unless you're in Canada. Then the decision becomes much harder because the WRX RS, which is essentially a TR, is so aggressively priced, there's a big gap between these two. You need to go down to a Corolla base to even get close to it, then you're missing a bunch of options. So in conclusion, Americans, if you want the most fun for the dollar, probably this. In Canada, probably that.